Well, hey, are you looking to get out of the house and get some much needed exercise this coming winter? I know I am for sure. Cross country skiing might just be what you're looking for. Joining me today is Gregg Campbell from the Cyprus Nordic Ski Club to discuss how you can get yourself on some skis and out onto the snow. You're joining me from Medicine Hat, aren't you, Gregg? Welcome to the
Yes,
show.
yes. Thank you very much.
First of all, maybe provide us a little bit of an overview of what the Cyprus Nordic Ski Club is and what exactly you guys do.
Well, I think what happened was, and we've been here for 25 years or so, my wife and I, and it has the Cypress Hills so close to Medicine Hat. It's like 65 kilometers away, and it typically has snow and beautiful trees and trails and all of the above. And we just, a group of us, probably about 30 or so, saw and felt a need to have a club here, just to get combined interests. During COVID, we saw lots of cars parking out at the trailhead in Cypress Hills near Elkwater, and realized that there might be there's probably a need to get united, get some insurance, maybe improve on the track setting and the grooming out there, add some programming, and just find out really who would like to do some of this. And we've really got together. We started a club, Cyprus Nordic Ski Club, named it, got a logo, got some badges, some events, a board group of 8 committed volunteers, and this will be our first season really together.
Your first season. Okay, well, you're right. It's a beautiful area, and obviously there was that need. So you're one of the originators of this club then.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I would. This Cal Lentz is the president, and he's got about 8 of us in our kind of our expertise, including accounting and communications with Sandra, that was going to be here, and Quan Lee, who's into program and development and has worked so hard on the website, as well as Bill working on a website. So everyone seems to be picking up some slack, and
Yeah, it's a lot
now
of
we
work
just
to
need the
go.
snow.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
that's one thing we have been lacking so far. This, I guess, we're not even technically in winter yet, are we? We're still
yeah,
sitting at the
yeah.
edge of fall, but it's December and there's not a heck of a lot of snow out there. So you're right. So I hope that you have a great season coming up. But
Thank you.
what kind of programs does this club offer for people who might be interested in getting into cross country skiing? And how
Yeah.
would you cater to different skill levels? Like myself, I've tried cross country skiing a couple times, not as good, better at the downhill.
Yeah.
Cross country
Well,
skiing's hard.
it is, and yet it isn't. I mean, it is because it's physically maybe a little bit more demanding than downhill skiing. And yet, if you just take a lesson, a couple lessons, and you get the good gear, and you can rent gear right out there in Elkwater, and then it seems to be, and if the grooming is right with the tracks set there, and we have quite a flat course. I mean, in cross country skiing, you go up, and on the flats and the downhills, you do it all, but it's not that extreme there. I would say most of the trails are just a green trail. So, but you can, I would dare to say that you just shuffle along, but that might be how it starts. And if you walk and then you start to glide a little bit, and you use the double pole technique when you can, and you control the speed going downhill.
It is
it
so much harder than it looks, and
Oh,
it is such a great cardio workout too.
yes,
It's
yes.
unbelievable. But we were talking about the lack of snow. So how has this recent warm weather trend affected your operations and
Yeah,
that overall cross-country skiing season? So far, it's
yeah.
kind of not even a season yet, is
I know.
it?
Yeah, well, for sure, it's sad, and we had all this planning to get ready, and we have a course, and we have the Jackrabbit program, which I'll mention too, and that's a kind of a nationally recognized program through Nordique, Alberta, which is our provincial governing body, and then are going to have lessons every Saturday morning between 10 and 12 for bunny rabbits and jackrabbits. I think it's between 4 and 6 and 7 and 9. And yeah,
Maybe
and then
I might have to join one of those, the bunny
well,
rabbit
well,
class.
Well, we actually have for Learn to Ski program for adults as well. So yeah, so we have lots of stuff like that. But as far as the snow out there, we're going out this Saturday. There's supposed to be a little bit of snow, like I don't know, maybe 4 or 6 inches. And I know they're making snow at the hill there, but that doesn't really help us out. And the groomers are ready to groom, but they just need the snow and the cold. But it's supposed to be in the plus, 5 or 8 coming up in the next few days. So it's not looking good.
For anybody who is unfamiliar completely with the sport, how would you describe that experience compared to downhill skiing? Obviously, it is more challenging, although you wouldn't think it is.
Well,
A different kind of a challenge, right?
for sure. I mean, cardiovascular, it probably is a little bit more taxing. And they say it's the #1 sport in the world for your max VO2, your volume of oxygen to get to all the muscles. And that's exactly what it is, because you actually use your arms and your back and your legs and your core, everything. So then it's not just a leg burn. So that's why it's maybe a little bit more difficult. But to describe cross-country skiing, we actually call it free heeling sometimes, where your heels come off the ski. Yeah, and you get a little bit of a kick through. It used to be called a kick and glide, and the coaches that we have, the volunteer coaches for bunny rabbits and jackrabbits, are all certified, and that we have insurance, and we're prepared to teach these kids to have fun, show them a little bit about some of the techniques. And then if that's okay after the first couple lessons, we think that they can go on any trail that they want there. I mean, supervised with their parents, we hope, and other adults, but yeah, lots to have fun with.
Right. Now, when I hear the word Nordique, I think of Europe. So where does where does the sport originate from, and how has it evolved over the years?
Yeah, well, it's originated in Scandinavia over the last 5,000 years. They've seen caves, pictographs of people skiing on these big long wooden skis
Are you
in Norway and
serious?
Sweden. Yeah,
That's
and
wild.
I've been to Finland 5 or 6 times training myself in winter and in summer, and it's really a different culture there, one that kind of just embraces the cross country skiing, not just the sport, but the other things, as in commuting. Lots of Finnish boys and girls actually commute on skis to school, and it's just a way that they design their suburbs and things like that. So I mean, when in Rome, you do that stuff. So when you're in Scandinavia, that's what people do. They cross country ski. It's really quite unique, and yeah, it's just a great sport. I know when I got into it, I thought, what? Because I came from hockey and invasion sports like that, and volleyball and basketball. But once I started skiing, cross country skiing, I didn't look back, because it was a great feeling.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, and you're
Yeah.
right. I think cross-country skiers are kind of a different breed of people, because I know my brother and sister-in-law are into it, and they brought their skis one time when we were having a snowstorm here, and it's
Yeah.
like we couldn't get to the grocery store, and they're like, no problem. They literally skied to the store. I'm like, what are these people
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, that's interesting, but I can totally
Yeah.
see that now. And so, Greg, I want to get into your background a little
Okay.
bit. How did you personally get involved in the sport? And what motivated you to
Yeah.
become, involved in all
Yeah.
of it?
Well, it was actually in high school in the north part of Toronto. We actually had a cross country ski team and running team. So, and I was on the basketball and the volleyball team, and just finished playing hockey at 16. And I thought, well, one of the friends said, just come on, give it a try. And really, I think it was just in my first practice or two, and we practiced every day after school. And we had a kind of a ravine valley close by, and we would go down and ski the trails. I loved it so much that after I got home, walked home, I ate supper and I took my skis back to the valley, probably a couple kilometers away, and went skiing again at nighttime.
Aw.
And I just loved it so much, and I think I was really looking for something that got me a little bit maybe closer to nature. The exhilaration of training and working hard, probably the long distance aspect to it,
Right.
to just let your troubles fade away, or
I
it'd
would
be kind of like
imagine,
a runner's
I
high.
was just gonna say, I would
Yeah,
imagine it's very similar to running because it's such a
yeah,
solo sport too. I
yes,
mean, it can
yes,
be with other people,
yeah,
but you can do that solo and just kind of get
for
out there by
sure.
yourself a little bit, and like you said, just kind of decompress from the world. I
Yes,
can totally see how
yeah,
that
yeah,
would be. Yeah,
yeah,
that's so interesting.
yeah.
How can people maybe become members of your Cyprus Nordic Ski Club? So, what kind of opportunities are maybe available to participate?
Easy to join. We're using that Zone 4 website. So you find our, I guess, our website, Cyprus Nordic Sea Club, just by looking it up, searching, and you'll see it. And it's quite detailed. Then you'd link on to the Zone 4. And the membership is $100 for a family of 4, or I think it's $70 per person. And that is almost all insurance that we pay to Nordic Alberta. And within the website, it'll show different avenues to find some of the Learn to Ski program, or the Jackrabbit, or other events like a Moonlight Ski. There was a roller ski event that Quan organized just a few weeks ago. And so there's lots of things on the website. Yeah,
How do
yeah.
you engage with the community to get people to kind of like discover the sport if they've never tried it before?
Yeah, can you help us? Yeah.
That's what we're
Well,
trying here.
that's what you're doing. So
Yeah.
yes, thank you. We're really new at it. It's not really, and much like Lethbridge, I would imagine, it's not a real Nordic mecca here in Southern Alberta, and yet we are so close to the Cypress Hills, and usually they have really nice snow and almost like a winter wonderland there. So we just, I think, over the pandemic, the last few years, I know when my wife and I and kids were going out there to ski, we would see many more cars there. So we were ready to go, what's happening here? So we have a few events. We have during family week, there's a special event day out in Elkwater. So we're going to offer some activities that day. We're offering the bunny rabbit and jackrabbit. We hope to give some lessons throughout the winter. We would like to have an event. I know I would, almost like a loppet, it's called. And it's kind of like a race, a citizens race, where you just come out and you ski 7 kilometers or 14 or something like that. Yeah. And so we're hoping that way, and people hear about us. We also were at the ski swap a few weeks ago here in town, and we promoted the club. And it's probably going to take a little bit of clawing. And I just think the members of the new board and the club are so invested in this, because this has been a few times around that we've tried this in the last 25 years since I've been in. It just kind of comes and goes, and but I think it's got the right tipping point now to really get going.
Yeah, well, it is a popular sport for sure, definitely. And
Yeah,
it's a great
yeah,
way to get some exercise and get out in
for sure.
nature. I'm curious too, when you were training with the Olympics, how did you get involved in that side of it? I mean, because you're combining cross country skiing with,
Yeah,
what is it, target shooting?
yeah,
Is it?
yeah,
Which to
yeah,
me is like the strangest sport ever. And under what circumstance would you ever be doing this in real life? But
yeah,
I guess back in the day, right? Like you were saying before, back in
yeah,
war times, if you need
yeah.
to hunt or something,
Yeah,
get
well,
out
and
there.
that is the history. It was, they say, between the Swedish and Norwegian National Guards, I think in the late 1700s, they wanted to have some races, against each other, and they did that. And then that's when the sport just took off. So, and then in biathlon, I used to know, I think it was in 1928 was the first recorded biathlon race at the Olympics. And it has been going ever since, with quite a few changes, just like cross country skiing. With the advent of fiberglass ski in the mid 70s, like techniques change. Now in biathlon and in skiing, they do skate skiing as well as classic, back and forth.
Wow.
You could go backcountry skiing and have wider skis and metal edges. So there's lots of different avenues. Cross country skiing doesn't just have to be this one thing and just a shuffle along. There can be other things, including telemark skiing, which is a way to a turn on using cross-country skis down the hill.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, because the skis are so long and they're so skinny. They are
Yeah,
harder
yeah,
to it's harder to
for
maneuver your
sure.
body.
Yeah, yes.
Is there a
So
trick
so
to
they
it? There must
well,
be.
yeah, there is. It's a telemark turn,
Okay.
and it's a way that you put almost the way that the ski jumpers land when you see them land right after the 90-meter ski jump. They land with one foot in front of the other and kind of like a squat of sorts. And that's how they really extend and turn using this telemark turn.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. I'll be able to
Okay.
do it now.
Be careful.
I got it down now.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's way harder than it actually it sounds a little bit complicated, to be honest.
Yeah, well, you have to, like all these things, you have to practice a little bit. But I think like the sport of pickleball, where people have success right away, they use the small rackets and you get out there and you can, hit the ball back and forth, and it's quite gentle, and people, I think it's the fastest growing sport for a reason, because people find success right away. And I think with cross country skiing, you would too. If you're not bundled up too much with a big snowsuit, you're just dressed properly and wearing the right gear and the toque and gloves and the right equipment, and not with the heel coming off to the side too much, is just pretty good. And if the grooming is right, you just get right into the tracks and you can shuffle along to start with. And right, really, in the last, I would say 5 or 10 years, these waxless skis are getting really popular. And when conditions change so much, like in southern Alberta, this is the perfect place for a waxless ski. And so, yeah, we're finding lots of success with it.
So many variables there, but very interesting conversation. Greg Campbell of the Cypress Nordic Ski Club. It looks like we're out of time, but thanks so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you very much, Jeanette. Yeah, this has been excellent.
Absolutely. I'm Jeanette Roche on behalf of all of us here at Bridge City News. Thanks so much for watching.